Hello everyone. Today we are going to start lecture 01 of class 8 mathematics chapter number 5, which is data handling. In this chapter we are going to talk about various kinds of data, how to handle them, how to represent them, how to arrange them, and finally how to make visual representation out of it so that the data becomes interesting, right? Nobody wants to read a boring kind of data. Everybody wants to read charts. Everybody wants to see how the data looks like. Okay, so what can we infer, what can we conclude from the data? That is our prime motive. So before starting data handling, let us understand what is data, what is raw data, right? That is, what is the name of the chapter? What do we mean by the word data? The word data means the word data means information. Okay, in its simplest form, most simplest form, data is nothing but is information about something. So it can be information about any particular observation, it can be information about particular event, it can be information about any particular inquiry, anything, any kind of information about a particular process, a particular experiment. That is something called data. Let me give you a simple example. The number of marks scored by your friends or your classmates in a particular subject is what? Information. Information regarding that particular test. What is that information? Data. If you want to collect that who got the highest marks, who got the lowest marks, how will you that? You need to find the information that what are the marks of various students. That particular information is data for your particular experiment. And in this case, your experiment was simple to find who got highest marks and who got lowest marks. Okay. Then what is raw data? Now what you will do is you will go to each and every student and ask that whatever marks you got, and you will write inside your copy separated by commas or any other thing. So that would be rough information. You are storing the information in rough form and then you will arrange it further. So the most primitive kind of information, most primary information that you directly get is called raw data. That is rough information. Okay. So what is the definition of raw data? Rough data or raw data is data available to us in unorganized form is called raw or rough data. So what is raw data? It is the most primitive kind of data. That is the something you will collect at the first stage. Okay, that is not processed, that has not been arranged. You are just going to every seat of the student and asking whatever marks you have got in the test and you are writing them in your notebook, right? So this was the introduction to the word data and raw data. Now let us talk about examples of data in daily life. As I gave you an example of collection of marks of various students. So what are different kinds of examples, or what are different kinds of things or experiments which we perform to collect data? There are innumerable examples. Okay, but let us write down some examples so as to give you an idea. For example, in our day-to-day life, suppose runs made by a batsman, that is also a data. Run made by a batsman in the last 10 test matches, right? So it can be a data, it can be a crucial information for somebody who wants to take out the average, or who wants to actually throw some light on the career of that particular batsman. For that particular information, he needs this kind of data. So any kind of runs which this batsman made are serving as a data for that particular person. Okay, let us take another example in our day-to-day life. Okay, these are examples from our day-to-day life, right? Like number, again let us take the example of cricket. Number of wickets taken by a bowler. In the last in the last 10 test matches, right? Again, this can be a data. This can be data for someone who is collecting this kind of information, right? Let us take one more example. For example, the example I gave you, like marks scored by the students, marks scored by the students of your class in mathematics unit test. It can be a data, right? In a particular unit test, what are the marks scored by different students of your class? That can be a data. Let us take one more example. For example, it can be very basic kind of data also, like number of books read, number of books read by each of your friends, okay, that can be a data. Similarly, you can have various kinds of information available. Okay, so number of books read by students, they can be story books, novels, non-fiction, comic books, okay, textbooks, any kind of books. For example, you make a competition that whoever reads more number of books in a month will get a particular prize, right? So now you are collecting the information after 1 month, that how many books Ram has read, how many books Lakshman has read, how many books Krishna has read, how many books Shiva has read. Okay, so you are collecting that particular data, and now you are realizing, okay, he wrote 6 books. Okay, I read only 4 to 5 books. I read only 4 books, and the 5th book I read half. So that is your particular information. That is your data. Okay, so for your experiment, that particular kind of data is important. It is crucial. So these can be some examples of data in daily life. Apart from them, there are innumerable examples available. Okay, so let us talk about example of raw data. Okay, let us take one of the case from these particular examples, and let us represent various kinds of things related to our data using this particular case. Let our case be the marks obtained by 30 students. So there are 30 students, so we will get 30 different observations, right? 30 students of class 8 in a class test. So we are obtaining what is our particular prime focus? To find out the marks obtained of 30 students in a particular test. Out of how many marks? 50 marks. Let the paper was of 50 marks. So according to the roll numbers, we'll go to each and every student of this particular class. So we have to go to 30 different students and have to ask that how many marks do you get out of 50 in a particular test, the test which you are targeting. So this is particular data. So see, first student says 39, then someone says 25, then someone says only 5 marks. Very poor, right? Someone says 33, someone says 19, 21 and 41 marks. So you will get different kinds of marks. Now see, you are writing this particular data in this particular form, like separating them by comma in your notebook. This data is very unpleasant. It is very unorganized. Okay, so this kind of data, which is kind of unorganized, which is very hard to read, which is just in the primitive form, you have not processed it, you have not even written that whose marks it is. Okay, Ram got 33 or Lakshman got 19 or Shiva got 21, whoever marks it is, we do not know the names, right? So this kind of data is called raw data. So this is a pure example of raw data. That is the data which you actually collect in your first instance. Okay, so that is raw data. Now let us talk about representation of this data. Okay, this is the data. Now it is very unpleasant. So what you will do, you will make it pleasant, because to find out who got the highest marks, you again have to read all the 30 data. Then then you have to take, okay, this was highest 41. Then you will search that if there any number highest than 41. Now you will find, oh no, nothing is higher than 41. So 41 is the highest marks. But now there is a tie. Different students got 41. So you have to count. Okay, 1, you will count 2. Okay, 3. So 3 students got 41 marks. Okay, like this. Similarly, you have to see, okay, 17 is the lowest. Then you'll find, no, 12 is the lowest. Then you will get 8 is the lowest. Then you will find 5, but then at last you will go to this, that this is the lowest. Okay, and this is the highest. So see, that is time consuming. It is very hard to read. So you have to process this kind of data. So that is why we have to talk about presentation of data. So let us talk about presentation of data, what actually it means. What is the definition of presentation of data? So it simply says that after after collection of data, the investigator has to find ways. Okay, we are the investigator because we were collecting the marks of students. Now we have to find ways how to read this data. Okay, find ways to condensate. What do we mean by condensate? We have to find ways to make this data a bit pleasant. Condensate, that is in a small form, so it becomes easier to read. Okay, find ways to condensate them in tabular form. Condensate them in tabular form in order to study their salient features. What are salient features? Important features, that who got the highest marks, who got the lowest marks, what was the average marks, what was mean, median, mode. There are different kind of ways in which you can process that particular data. You can find out the percentage of students who got marks higher than that particular marks. You can get how many students got more than 50% of marks. You want to take out information from that particular data, as much information as possible, as much conclusion as much possible. So you have to process that particular data, right? So this type of arrangement, right, this type of arrangement in which we arrange that particular data in a tabular form, this type of arrangement is called presentation of data. So we can write such an arrangement is called presentation. Such an arrangement is called presentation of data, right? Now it is very basic kind of presentation of data, right? In a tabular form, you must have seen pie charts, you must have seen histograms, bar graphs. Okay, there are polygons, there are curves, there are different kind of ways to represent data on a graph paper, also in a tabular form also, and we are going to see that particular type of things in the future lectures. But for the time being, let us start very basic. Let us start very small by first presenting this data in a tabular form. So this kind of presentation is called presentation of data, in which we are actually trying to condensate the data in tabular form so that we can find something out of it. Okay, so what are the different ways of presentation of data? What are the different ways to condensate? So we have the raw data. The raw data can be arranged in any one of the following ways, right? So you can arrange the raw data, which we have stated in this particular statement, in the following ways. How? Very simple. First of all, you can arrange the data in the form of serial order, right? You can arrange the data in the order of serial numbers or alphabetical orders, right? If they are in the numbers, you can arrange them in number form, right? Serial number 1, 2, 3, like roll number wise. Okay, you can arrange that particular data which we have talked about in alphabetical order, like Rahul got, then you can write Ramesh, then you can write Saksham, then Shiva. Okay, in this way, alphabetical order. So serial, or it can be in alphabetical order, right? So you can arrange the data in serial alphabetical order, or very simple, if the data is numerical, you can arrange in ascending order, right? You can arrange the data in ascending order. That is also one way. It would be bit easier to read than this particular raw data. Okay, you can arrange them in descending order. Okay, that can also be your requirement. You can arrange them in descending order. So on the basis of the data, see, everything we will be designing, or we would be deciding on the basis of particular type of data. So firstly, we have to see that what kind of data are we dealing with. Is it numerical? Is it informative data? So different kinds of data can be arranged in different kind of ways, and there are a lot more number of ways to arrange that particular data. But these three are the basic terms, right? Basic ways for the data which we are going to study in this particular chapter, right? So let us talk about in ascending and descending order. Okay, because serial order, alphabetical order is very easy. So let us talk about ascending order. So let us talk about example of representation of data. Now in this presentation of data, we are going to take the same example of marks of 30 students out of the test of marks of out of a test in which the test paper was of 50 marks and the students got marks out of 50, right? 41 marks, 5 marks, 10 marks. So let us arrange that particular data. Okay. So in ascending order, comma, the data look as, now you will see the data would be present. Let us start writing the data. Okay, let us start writing 1, 1. So these were the ascending order. Okay, so these were the 2 students who just got the minimum marks. See, now without even completing the data, you know who got the minimum marks and what were the minimum marks. So the minimum marks was 1 out of 50 and 2 students got minimum marks, right? Then 2 students got 5 marks. Then 1 student got 10 marks. Then 1 student got 10 marks. Then 4 students got 12 marks, right? Then 3 students got 17 marks, right? Now see, it is very easy to read this data because we are grouping them also, right? All 17s are together. Now you can see 4 students again got 19 marks. So we can even tell how many students got how many marks, right? Then 4 students got 21 marks, right? Then only 1 student got 25 marks. Then only 3 students got 33 marks. Then only 1 student got 39 marks. Then only 1 student got 40 marks, and then 3 students got highest, that is the 41 marks. So this was the end. Now you can clearly see this data is a lot more easier to read, and it looks nice because you know who got the highest marks. Let me underline it. These 3 students got highest marks and these 2 students got lowest marks. So what is the highest mark in the test? 41. Okay. And what is the lowest score? That is 1. So in this way, see, we have just what we did. We just concluded something out of this data. Okay, we got something out of this data, that who is the topper and what are the marks of topper. Okay, and who came last in the test and what are their marks, right? So 2 students came last with 1 marks and 3 students topped the test with 41 marks. Let us arrange this particular data in descending order also. Okay, let us see how it will look like. In descending order, comma, the data look as follows. So again, in descending order, again 41 marks are scored by 3 students, right? 1 student got 40 marks, 1 student got 39 marks, 3 students got 33 marks. Okay, 1 student got 25 marks. After that, 4 students got 21 marks, right? Then again 4 students got 19 marks. So these were the 4 students, right? Then 3 students got 17 marks. So these are the 17 marks, right? After that 4 students got 12 marks. At last 1 student got 10 mark, 1 student got 8 mark, 2 students got 5 marks, and 2 students got 1 mark. So you can clearly see that this is the data in descending order. Now again we can infer something out of it. Again, the highest scorers are these 3 students and the lowest scorers are these. Also, since there were 30 students, the data should be equal to that of 30 students. So there should be 30 observations. Let us count 3, then 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Then 4, 12, that is 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30. So we have 30 observations. Now again, it is a bit pleasant than the raw data, but still it is not as pleasant, right? You will say that it is not as pleasant. Why? Because still there is a need of improvement, there is a scope of improvement. You can still group them together. You could have, see what we are doing, why I have written ascending and descending order again with my hand, or why we have written them twice. Even with the ascending order, it was clear that how the descending order would look like, but I have written this ascending order and descending order twice, just to show you that it still takes effort to represent this data. Okay, yes, this data is better than raw data, but still there is a scope of improvement, because see, we have to write this data and it consumes time to write it again and again, because we have to repeat this 21 4 times. Even in English we do not do that, right? After speaking the name we use he and she. So that is also the case in data. What if we couple these 21 and we write 4 into 21, or we could write their frequency, or how many times the 21 is appearing in this particular list. See, 41 is appearing 3 times and we are writing it 3 times. That is time consuming. So instead of writing them 3 times, if we try to couple them, they could further reduce the size of data. They could further condensate them smaller and tabular forms, and it would be easier again to read them. So that is the need of representation of data. Okay, so let us represent this particular data in more concise form, that is a tabular form. Clearly, what is the need of presentation of data in tabular form? To make it concise, you will clearly see that this particular data which we have represented ascending and descending order, see, it is very pleasant, it is very easy to read. Now see, only 2 students got 1 marks, 4 students got 12 marks. Okay, you can see 3 students got 41 marks. So we do not have to write 41 3 times. Instead, we have written the number of marks, and in front of it we have written how many students got it. Again, it shows that the lowest marks are 1, highest are 41. 3 students topped the class and 2 students were at the last. So again, we can conclude each and everything similarly from this table as we did in the previous data forms, but they were time consuming, they were long, and they were not pleasant. This particular data is less time consuming, it is pleasant, and you want to read it. So what is the need of presentation of data? Why do we need presentation of data? So its simple reason is that if the number of observations is large, then arranging data in ascending or descending, or serial order, that is alphabetical order or serial order, is a tedious job. So that is the reason we just have shown, we have written the data in ascending and descending order, right? Firstly we have written the ascending, then we have written the descending order, the same data, and it took a lot of time, a lot of effort. Even there are chances of mistake, right? So there are always chances of error. So descending or serial order is a tedious job, full stop. Or you can continue it, tedious job, and it is a tedious job and it does not tell us much. It does not tell us much except the minimum it does not tell us much except the minimum or minimums, because there are two minimums, right? Minimums or you can write and minimums and maximums, right? So it does not tell us much except the minimums and maximums of data, right? So if the number of observations are large, like in this case we have 30 observations, right? It is very small, you will say, but you will get more number of observations. Then in this case, arranging data in ascending or descending order or serial order is a tedious job, and it is time consuming, and it is a wastage of time because it does not tell us much about it. We are just getting the minimums and the maximums. We are not even getting the range or anything about the data. So what is the variation? What is the mean of the data? How many students got the maximum number of marks? Nothing. We are getting nothing out of it, right? So this particular type of data or representation of data in ascending or descending order is also not very efficient. That is why we have moved to tabular form. Now in the coming lectures we will talk about that how we can improve this tabular form also. What are the frequencies, what are the frequency distributions, what are tally marks, and how can we represent them on particular graphs, right? So this was the reason. So at last we can say that we need tabular form. We can say so to make it easily understandable and clear, comma, we can tabulate the data. And that is what we did. We have tabulated the data. Now this data is looking pleasant, this data is very useful, and you can find various things out of it. So this was all about the introduction of data handling, and we have started the introduction by taking an example and handling a particular type of data. So this is the best introduction. In this particular introduction we have also handled a type of data, that is the marks of 30 students, and we found out that what are the challenges we are facing in taking the raw data or arranging in ascending or descending order, or why do we even need tabular form. So this was all about this particular lecture. Okay, thank you for watching this lecture till end. I'll see you in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.